Hello students, in today's class we are going to discuss about the different styles of service followed in food and beverage service establishments. In the catering industry, there are many styles in which food and beverages are served to guests. This may range from self-service cafeteria, where guests have to collect their food from the counter, to full silver service in luxury restaurants where dishes are served by waiters at the guest's table using service fork and spoon. In waiter service, food and beverage is served to guests by the waiter at the table in the restaurant, in the hotel room, in the hospital, on the flight, etc. Now let us see what are the styles of service that come under waiter service. The different styles are English service, French service, American service, Russian service, gueridon service and tray service. Now the objectives of studying this topic will be to understand the major styles of food and beverage service, the features of each style of service and the advantages and disadvantages of each style of service. Now first we have seen the major three types of service, that is waiter service, assisted service and self-service. Now we are going to see in today's class about the different styles of service which come under the first category, that is the waiter service. Now let us see first what waiter service is. In waiter service, the guest enters the restaurant and is seated. The menu card is presented to the guest for his order. The order of the guest is taken by the waiter. The service is done by the waiter on the guest table using a cover that is already laid out. Now the styles of service we are going to see today under the waiter service are English service, French service, American service, Russian service, gueridon service and tray service. Now let us see one by one the styles of service which come under waiter service. The first style of service we are going to see today is English service. This style of service is also known as silver service. This is regarded as a formal service. The cover is already set in silverware on the table for the appetizer, soup, main course and the dessert course. The plates are placed before the guest. The food is portioned into silver platters in the kitchen and kept warm by placing on hot plates or sideboard with burners in the restaurant. All the food is garnished ornately and presented in silver dishes. The waiter presents the dish to the host for approval and then serves the guest from the silver platter using service spoon and fork. From the left hand side, he presents the main dish to the host and serves each guest starting from the guest seated to the right of the host. The waiter moves counterclockwise while serving food. He will clear the dishes from the right hand side of the guest. He will serve beverages from the right hand side. This type of service is seen in upscale restaurants. Now there are some points to be remembered in English service. Food should be served to the guest's plate from the platter from the left hand side using service spoon and fork. Beverages should be served from the right hand side. Clearance should be made from the right hand side. Now let us see the advantages and disadvantages of English service. The advantages are the service offered is personalized. There is greater customer satisfaction. Waiters can display their service skills and the plate wastage will be less. Now let us see what are the disadvantages of English style of service. The service is slow, seat turnover is low, and the labor cost is more as high levels of service skills is required, and the number of staff required is also more. Now let us see the next style of service, which is called the French service. This is also known as family service. This style of service is found in family pensions in France as well as in banquets, where the food is presented to each guest from the left hand side to help himself. The food is brought from the kitchen on platters by the waiter and shown to the host for approval. The food platters are then placed on the table. The host portions the food onto the guest's plate directly, or portions the food and allows the waiter to serve onto the guest's plate. If the guests want to replenish food, the waiter may serve the dish or take it around for guests to help themselves. Alternatively, food can be brought from the kitchen in dishes and salvers and placed on the table. The guests help themselves and serve the food from the dishes or salvers onto their plates. This type of service is practiced in ethnic restaurants, especially Chinese and Indian restaurants. If the number of guests is more than 4, a side table or trolley can be used by the waiter to keep plates, service equipment and dishes. Let us see the advantages and disadvantages of French style of service. The advantages are: service will be quick and high levels of service skills is not required. Labor cost is low. Seat turnover is more compared to English service, and the plate wastage will also be less. Now the disadvantages of French style of service are: there is a lack of personalized service, so guests may feel neglected. Service staff cannot exhibit their service skills. There may be spillage or burns due to handling of hot foods by guests. More area is needed on the table and food may go cold. Now let us see the next style of service, which is American service. This is also known as plated service. This is a simple and informal style of service. In this style of service, food is portioned and placed on the guest's plate along with the accompaniments in the kitchen by kitchen staff and placed at the guest's cover by the waiter from the right hand side. He should be able to carry 3 full plates which are dished out at one time, which will help to speed up the service procedure. If the number of guests is more than 3, the team of waiters and assistant waiters place the plates on the table. The waiter moves clockwise while placing plated food. The dished out cups and bowls are placed on trays and carried to the guest's table. Cups are placed on saucers and bowls are placed on quarter plates along with appropriate spoons. He will clear the dishes from the right hand side of the guest. This type of service will be suitable where quick and simple service is required, as in coffee shops, fast food outlets and restaurants located in busy areas. Now let us see the points to be remembered in American service. All the plated food should be served from the right hand side of the guest. Beverages should also be served from the right hand side of the guest. Clearance should be done from the right hand side of the guest. Tray should be used for carrying bowls, cups, saucers and underplates. Trays should not be used for carrying full plates and half plates. The waiter should move clockwise when he works from the right hand side. The waiter should move counterclockwise when he works from the left hand side. Now let us see the advantages and disadvantages of this type of service. The advantages are: the service is quick and simple. One waiter can serve many guests at a time. Waiters need not be specially trained for service. The labor cost is low. And this style of service does not require special service equipment. The seat turnover is high. And the kitchen staff have scope for demonstrating their plating skills. The disadvantages are: personal attention given to guests is less. The showmanship exhibited by waiters is less. Plate wastage will be more. There is a chance of the food getting cold. And the time and labor of kitchen staff is more. Now let us see the next style of service, which is Russian service. This style of service can also be termed as sideboard service. This is an elaborate silver service in which display and presentation of food play a major role. In this style of service, whole joints of meat, poultry, game or fish are elaborately garnished, presented to guests and carved and portioned at the sideboard by the waiter. The food is then served by the waiter from silver platters onto the guest's plate using service spoon and fork. After service, the dishes are placed on a hot plate in the sideboard to keep them warm. Each course of the menu is served from the sideboard. This style of service is not practiced much in recent times. The advantages of this style of service are: personal attention is given to guests. The service will be elegant and entertaining. Guest satisfaction will be high. Waiters can exhibit carving, portioning and service skills, and the presentation will be good. The disadvantages of this style of service are: highly skilled service staff are required and more number of waiters will be required. So, the labor cost will be high. There is low seat turnover and the time taken for service will be more. The last guest to be served from the platter may see a less attractive display. Now let us see the next type or specialized style of service, which is called Gueridon service. This service can also be termed as trolley service. In this style of service, a dish is partially prepared in the kitchen and is completed in the restaurant by the waiter. Sometimes a complete meal is cooked on a Gueridon trolley at the table side in the restaurant. The Gueridon trolley is a mobile trolley with a gas cylinder and burners. Different types of trolleys are used in restaurants. The design of the trolley varies based on the purpose for which it is used. Some of the trolleys seen in restaurants offering Gueridon service are carving trolley, flambe trolley, odor trolley, cheese trolley and liqueur trolley. The waiter is required to fillet, carve, flambe and prepare the food with showmanship in front of the guest, for which he has to possess deftness and ability. The food is then served to the guest using service spoon and fork. This type of service is practiced in luxury and upmarket restaurants. Now let us see the types of trolleys which are used. The first one is an hors trolley. About 10 to 12 varieties of appetizers are displayed in this trolley. The containers in which appetizers are held are placed over ice. The trolley design is such that it has provision for holding ice and containers. It should have adequate cold half plates and necessary service equipment to transfer the hors selected by the guest on the cold half plate. It should also have appropriate accompanying sauces. The plated food is served from the right hand side of the guest. The next type of trolley is a salad trolley. This trolley has half plates and bowls, under plates, containers with prepared ingredients, salad dressings and seasonings which are required for the preparation of salads. Salad dressings can be prepared in the kitchen or on the trolley in the presence of the guest. In most of the restaurants, dressings are prepared in the kitchen and the dressing of salad is done on the trolley in the restaurant. The next type of trolley is food preparation, carving and flambe trolleys. These trolleys have a gas burner or flare lamp fixed to the level of the top surface. The carving trolley has a carving board which is placed over the chefing dish to retain the heat of the meat during the process of carving. The trolley may have a single or double burner. A double burner trolley is required when the finished food is to be held hot during the preparation. One burner can be used for keeping the food hot while the other burner is used for cooking. The next one is liqueur trolley. The liqueur trolley is brought near the table once the guests have finished their last course. In a restaurant where profit is the main motive, the liqueur trolley should be presented to every table. It can be used as one of the best selling aids in a restaurant. Next we will see about cheese trolley. This trolley has a variety of cheeses, cheese board and cheese knife for cutting the cheese. It also has appropriate accompaniments for cheese. The surface of the trolley is generally made of marble and has a translucent dome to cover the top. The cheese selected by the guest is portioned and plated on the gueridon trolley and then served from the right hand side of the guest. Next is the dessert trolley. This trolley has a fixed cooling system and uses refrigeration gas. Now let us see what are the equipment used on a gueridon trolley. The main equipment used on a gueridon trolley are the gas stove, flare lamp, chefing dish, Suzette pan and carving board. Now let us see the gueridon service procedure. A waiter is expected to possess certain qualities and attributes in order to carry out gueridon service. The sequence of procedure to be followed in gueridon service is as follows. First, we will see how to take the order. The items on the menu must be suggested to the customer with focus on the dishes that the restaurant may wish to sell. The carving trolley and sweet trolley can be used as visual selling aids. The waiter should have a good knowledge of the menu so that he can offer good guidance to the guest about the dishes available. An important factor is recognition of the host. The waiter should stand to the left of the host. Each guest should be able to interact with the waiter for any reference. The waiter should not position himself too close to the guest, as this may cause embarrassment. The waiter may suggest dishes based on age of the host and guest, and also based on the nature of the party. This should then give some indication as to the type of dishes that the waiter may suggest. The waiter should take all orders through the host. The waiter should also confirm the time period available for the meal in order to determine the type of dishes to be sold. The waiter should take note as to whether the group is all male, all female, or female and male combined with varying age groups. The waiter should take the order correctly in order to avoid any errors later. Now, after taking the order, let us see what is the procedure for service. A chef or commis or a steward who is also responsible for doing the service will be in charge of Giridon service. The Giridon trolley should always be pushed and not pulled, as this helps to avoid accidents. The Giridon trolley should be kept in the same position during the service of a complete course. The trolley should not be positioned near the service door, as this may cause obstruction to the waiter. The waiter should hold the service spoon and fork in the same hand and leave them in the platter when he moves to the next person. The filleting or carving should be done on the carving board or hot joint plate and not on the silver dish. The waiter should always clear the dirty plates from the Giridon trolley. Now, let us discuss about the selection of dishes for Giridon service. An exclusive list of dishes is offered by restaurants where Giridon service is practiced. The dishes are developed based on the type of customers frequenting the restaurants. The staff should be trained to prepare the chosen dishes and to standardize the procedures so that the products and services offered are consistent. The following must be standardized for each dish that is served from the trolley: the cover and accompaniments, appropriate equipment required on the trolley, the list of raw ingredients required on the trolley, the list of cooked ingredients to be collected from the kitchen, the list of spirits or liqueurs required for flambeing, preparation methods on the trolley, time of cooking, method of flambeing, method of plating and presentation, and coordination from other staff. Now, let us discuss the safety precautions to be taken while cooking in the Giridon. Adequate precaution should be taken for safe operation of the Giridon, as it involves naked flames in the dining area, especially when flambe work is done. The burner should be checked for fuel leak and loose fittings. The fire extinguisher should be placed within reach, and each staff must know how to operate it. The trolley should not be positioned very close to the guest's table so as to ensure guests' safety. A minimum of 2 feet space should be there between the trolley and the guest's table so that the waiter can attend to the table with ease. The waiter should not bend his head or shoulder when flambeing a dish. Flambeing means setting alight the liquor which is added to the dish during or at the end of the preparation. The steam outlet should be positioned away from the guest while carving. Now let us see what are the advantages and disadvantages of Gueridon service. The advantages are: personalized service is given to guest. Guest satisfaction will be high, and the waiters can exhibit their culinary, carving and service skills. Gueridon service is an effective tool for merchandising. The revenue per cover will be high. Now let us see what are the disadvantages of Gueridon style of service. Highly skilled service staff is required. The service will be slow, so there will be a low seat turnover. And the investment on service equipment is high. More space is required in the service area. The chances of accidents will be high. The cooking in the service area may leave behind odor. Now let us see the next style of service, which is tray service. This style of service is practiced when guests call for service of food in their rooms. In this style of service, the dish that is ordered by the guest is portioned and arranged on a tray along with the required cutlery and served quickly in his room. Special trays are available which will help to retain the temperature of the dishes. Small orders are served in trays, whereas major orders are placed in trolleys and served in the room. The order is taken at a central point by the room service order taker, and the food is collected from the kitchen or floor pantry, based on which room service can be categorized into two types. One type of room service is centralized room service. In this type, food orders are processed from the main kitchen and sent to the room by waiters. Another type is decentralized room service, in which food orders are serviced from floor pantries. A check is prepared by the cashier and then taken by the waiter along with the food order to the guest room for guest's signature or payment. The clearance of soiled dishes is done by the waiter from the room after half an hour or 1 hour. But the guest can also call the room service to request for clearance once he has finished his meal. Tray service is also popular in hospitals where dishes for patients are served based on the recommendation of the dietitian. The dishes are arranged on trays, on a trolley, and taken to the room of the patient. In flights also, meals are served on trays to passengers who are confined to their seats. The menu offered in flights is decided by the flight operator and the catering contractor. Let us see the advantages and disadvantages of tray service. The advantages are: high level of service skill is not required, so the labor cost is low. Coming to the disadvantages, waiters cannot exhibit their service skills. There is no personalized service. If insulated trays are not used, food may go cold. more number of dishes cannot be accommodated on trays. To conclude today's session, we have discussed about the different styles of service, that is English service, American service, French service, Russian service, gueridon service and tray service. We have seen the features of each styles of service and the advantages and disadvantages of each style. All the styles of service discussed come under the major category of waiter service. Now, before deciding on the style of service, we have to know what is the expectation of a customer. The customers generally demand good quality food which is prepared and served hygienically. The food service operator should understand the expectations of the customers and provide service accordingly in order to be successful in his business. Whatever the style of menu or style of service chosen by the operator, it should be easy to operate, contribute to guest satisfaction, the service should be fast and efficient, it should be cost effective, it should exercise good control, and it should ensure high standards of hygiene and safety. The style of food service offered in food service establishments keep changing rapidly based on the environment in which it operates. Hence, it is imperative for the food service operator to understand the environment in which he is operating the food service facility so that he can decide on the style of service to be offered. Thank you.